Hi there, I'm Michael Hill with Canine Chronicle TV, and for our Next Gen segment today, I'm here with Joseph Washnesky, and I believe you're in Texas, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Good. Currently at the Kerrville Dog Show.
Amazing. Well, thank you for taking the time with us while you are prepping for what I'm sure will be a busy week. Let's just start at the beginning with how you got into dogs in the first place.
So I started when I was about 15 in the 4-H, and my mom and I basically put together a dog project in 4-H for our area in California. And, you know, one thing led to another, and I started going to dog shows and learning a little bit about how everything worked and how they did things. And I started working for professional handlers when I was 16, and it's been...
What was the original breed you started out with?
I started out with Border Terriers, and my mom and I still breed them, and I just fell in love with showing dogs and wanted to, you know, be a professional handler when I grew up, and, you know, you can always learn something.
The rest is history. Yeah. You were bit by the bug, it sounds like.
Yes.
Was your family already in dogs, or were you kind of the foray into that sport?
My mom wasn't into dogs. She was more into the horses, livestock area. So we started when I was about 15, and now she's enjoying it in California with a grooming shop that she owns, and
amazing. And breeding. Very cool. Who were some of the people who were influential in your start?
So the first person I worked for was Wood Warnall. I learned a lot about terriers and hand stripping and taking care of dogs. You know, that was one key that he really taught me when I was young, is anyone can show a dog and handle, but a lot of them don't know the time and effort it takes to take care of the animal and, you know, make sure they're on the right food and supplements and the right exercise. So he taught me a lot about dogs and how to take care of them.
Which is ultimately the most important part of the sport, right?
Yes. And so I learned, you know, a couple years with him. And then I kind of went with Bruce and Tara Schultz and learned Goldens and sporting dogs. And that's how I learned that I loved the breeds of sporting dogs and got into Cocker Spaniels later on after that.
Wow. And then you're showing a Cocker now, right?
Yes. I learned from Mike and Linda Pitts when I worked there for 3 years.
Amazing.
And that was truly an honor to work for them. You know, just to watch them turn a Cocker Spaniel from, you know, from naturally to going into the ring.
Very different look.
Very different look, yes. So I look up to them very much. So
what were some takeaways from that experience with them? Because there's some pretty significant, you know, experience with Mike and Linda and that breed and conditioning dogs at a top level.
Yeah, so I worked with Mike a lot about, you know, bathing them and drying them and trimming them properly, and he showed me very much about clipper work and road working and training them. I also watched Linda for hours of trimming, and when she did her seminars, I mean, it's always something to look forward to when you watch those. You
were in the right place for Cockers, that's for sure.
Yes.
And then when did you kind of decide that you were ready to go out and start showing a Cocker yourself?
It was probably shortly after I left them. I got a call from a client that wanted me to start getting into cockers and showing. So I started with a party cocker dog for a couple in Colorado. I made their dog a top 5 cocker, went to the garden with it, and won multiple groups on it.
Wow, that's amazing. What a start.
Yes.
Speaking of memories like that, what would be some of the most important memories you have, whether it's a win or a dog, you know, or a person that you've worked with?
So when I was 27, I won my first Best in Show on a Cocker Spaniel.
Oh, amazing.
And I was so excited I had to call Mike Pitts. It was just something that, like, you know, you aim and you look forward to.
It came full circle.
Yes, and to win your first with a Cocker Spaniel is pretty hard. So
huge congratulations.
Thank you.
So now that you've kind of gotten to this point where you've done the full circle from 4-H, you know, figuring out what breed you want, working with different handlers, you have clients of your own, living this life kind of day in and day out. What would be some advice you would have for someone else who's new to the sport and getting started? It just kind of loves dogs, but is trying to figure out their pathway.
So anyone that's new and up and coming, you know, the key is that not everyone is perfect, and, you know, you're always still learning new things and techniques on what you can do better in this sport. You know, sometimes, like, I'll stand, if I have extra time at a show, I'll stand and watch different rings and watch different handlers, how they present new breeds and stuff, because you never know, down the road you might get offered a show, let's say a Doberman or a Pekingese or something in that regard. So, you know, it's always just, and always ask, you know, the handlers or people you may know on what you can do better and what you can improve on when you're coming into the sport.
There's always learning opportunities, right?
Yes.
Let's wrap up then with what would be your goal for where you want to go with your life in dogs?
So my goal is to continue showing Cocker Spaniels and other breeds. My goal is to become a AKC judge and a breeder of Cocker Spaniels down the road.
I think that's a huge, huge, huge thing, is the breeders are the backbone of the sport.
Yes, I agree.
Well, thank you so much. It was so great to hear about your progression and see how somebody can start with just, you know, from, you know, an interest in dogs and go all the way to the top to Best in Show with their heart breed. I really love that.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Well, good luck in Texas this week.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye.
All right. Bye.